Coming up today on Traveling with the Mouse, we will be discussing a little bit of news, but then we're also going to cover a couple of tips for those traveling during the winter months coming up here. That's today on Traveling with the Mouse. Welcome, everyone, to episode number 428 of Traveling with the Mouse. My name is John. I am your host for this week, and I am joined by my lovely co-host. We can call you lovely, can't we? Adam.
What's up, everybody? Yes, I am lovely.
You were holding your breath waiting to say that what's up. You were just waiting with bated breath.
I have to.
Yeah, you have to.
It's my signature line.
You have to say it like that. What are we on? We're on NPR. We're gonna start speaking like that.
Yes, ASMR. We should do an ASMR episode.
Oh god,
think about it. We should do that.
Sure.
Talking about Disney in this style. We are riding the monorail. Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be. Actually, there's probably something there.
Something there. Should do that. I'm gonna be traveling. Not with the mouse here in the next couple of weeks, but I'm actually going to be heading to the Pigeon Forge area for a little before Thanksgiving trip.
You're not going to take the mouse with you?
I might take my shirts, so I guess I will in that sense.
Indeed. That'll be fun. Dollywood.
Yes, Dollywood. We're going to plan. The plan is to visit Dollywood at least one day.
Mm-hmm.
Check out the Smoky Mountain Christmas that's going on. So
nice.
It'll be a little different trip, a non-Disney trip.
I need to get back up there. Need to go up there too.
Yeah.
I've heard lots about it.
Yeah. It's a nice area. It's fun to do. Now during that particular time, it's kind of unpredictable right now, I guess, what the weather would be like as well, which we're going to talk about a little later concerning Disney, but
true.
I guess I'll have to see what it's going to look like the closer it gets to it. So,
right. Could be chilly.
Yeah. Less than 2 weeks away at this point that you're hearing this. So
time flies, man.
Yeah. I'm soon to be another year older.
Yeah.
So there's this all new finale to the end of Jingle Cruise, right?
Right.
Trader Samta.
Got it.
That one's a little corny even for the Jungle Cruise. Really?
Well, yes, indeed.
To say Trader Samta.
Yeah. So what's different about Samta?
Well, I mean, it's a sign that says get a head start on your holiday shopping with Trader Samta. Hurry soon. Inventory is shrinking.
Right. That's funny.
The monkey with the camera, he has a Christmas flower. I forgot what you call those now, but I should remember. Some bows, decorating. So, just the fact that it does have that the ending has a Christmas theme, which you would think it should, right? Just the jingle.
Poinsettia. Right.
Yes, that's right. Poinsettias. Why can't I think of poinsettias? I should know that.
Right.
So.
Man, we're getting old.
I think it's just too late at night right now.
What? It's
my brain is like my brain is
fried,
not functioning. Yeah.
Got it. Can I just say I love the Jingle Cruise? I think it's a really cool addition.
I've yet to experience it. I have not been there. I haven't been there during Christmas in a while.
You should go now. Book a trip.
Was it going? I'm trying to think. In 2020, we went during the first part of Thanksgiving, so I guess the Jingle Cruise was there then. I don't know why we didn't do it.
Well, it's very popular. So the Jungle Cruise in general is very difficult to get a lightning lane for unless you book it as your first one of the day. But I love they add like music in the queue, and there's all kinds of Christmas decorations in the queue. Right. They've upped it every year, it seems like. Made it better every year. So
it doesn't seem to take them very long to do this overhaul like it does the
Yeah, it was like a day or two, and it was completely transformed. I was thinking it would take a little longer. There's a lot of stuff.
It's not as long as the transformation that takes place to change Haunted Mansion to
Yes, the Haunted Mansion holiday thing.
holiday. Yeah,
Yeah, for
for
sure.
whatever reason.
Yeah, this is very
Which
quick and
yeah, which I am told is the reason why they don't do it in Florida is because there's a lot of people that sometimes are taking their only trip and they need to see the Haunted Mansion in its full
Right.
glory.
yeah, I can understand that because California would have more locals versus Disney World has more one time and
Yeah,
less
or
repeats.
longer trip, fewer
Yeah,
time.
longer between you.
Yeah, sort of things.
Yeah, so you don't want Haunted Mansion to be down for like a month every
Right.
year.
Right,
It's
exactly.
understandable.
All right, so moving on. We got a first listen at Epcot's Luminous track.
Yes, okay.
Symphony
I
of
listened to
Us.
it. I kind of liked it. What did you think?
See, what I heard, it sounded like they were trying to go back to similar to Reflection of Earth, right? That's what it sounded. That's what it reminded me of. So it's almost like they're taking it's like they took Harmonious and Reflections of Earth and kind of mishmashed them together,
Right.
somewhat, is what this is going to end up kind of being. So,
yeah.
You know what's funny is I was recently on Retro WDW, right? I was watching some classic footage that they had just released out there, and some of it was from the early Epcot days, like I can't remember if it was like 86 maybe, I think. And lo and behold, World Showcase, we complain about barges. There was sitting in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of World Showcase Lagoon, not the ocean.
Yes.
I don't know where that came from. Was the globe, right?
Oh, right, yeah, right.
And because Illuminations, even back then, had a globe out there. It wasn't one that had it wasn't an Inferno barge, though.
Yeah.
But it had one out there. And from what I could tell, it was out there in the middle of the day. So it was not,
Yeah.
It was not one of those things that went off, like out behind the scenes and everything. So
it wasn't as much of a monstrosity as the.
Well, you know what?
It
did block some views. So I think that's what people were complaining about the most.
Yeah.
So, and partially because they get used to Reflections of Earth not having anything in the way. So, yeah, but if you can go back and look at some of that footage, you look at that, you're like, man, things just really haven't changed that much. The only thing that's changed is the people complaining about it. So,
yeah, right.
But anyway, they have an original song, Heartbeat Symphony, that actually reminded me of, like I said, it ends with that, it seems. So it reminds me of the We Go On. They're going along the same vein as Reflections of Earth was, is what it sounds like, to do this new show.
So, which can't be a bad thing.
No, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, it's one of the best things about Epcot was its original music.
Yeah. I watched several episodes of the season 2 of Behind the Attraction.
Oh, I haven't really watched that yet.
It's good. I mean, I don't love the style per se. It's kind of silly versus like serious documentary, which is what I would prefer. Like the Ken Burns in-depth, like every detail style. It's more silly and, gives you the very high level. But there is an episode of about Epcot in general, and it was good. It was, mostly stuff I already knew, and they kind of cut a lot of detail out, but they kind of went through the history of Epcot from, obviously Walt to what it ended up being, and, even additions over the years. The only kind of cool piece was more of the modern stuff they talked about, where the people who tested Guardians of the Galaxy, for example, some of the Imagineers, they said they started with 100 songs and they had to write it. Like a couple of these Imagineers were like competing each other and wrote it. I forgot how many times. It was several hundred times, I feel like.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, they had to listen to the soundtrack as they were doing it to narrow down the playlist to the 6 that they ended up choosing. But I think they said they started with 100 songs. Wow. And then whittled it down. Obviously, they had to test like the story elements and timing of all that stuff too. But I'm like, wow. So they wrote it a lot before it opened. But anyway, yeah. So it's worth a watch. There's some good ones, like Big Thunder is another one that I watched. What's another one? Pirates was another one.
The only one that I attempted to watch the other night, I can't remember the reason for it, but we were attempted to watch the one about food.
Yeah, my son watched that one. He said it was cool, but I haven't watched that one yet. I was gonna. Yeah. That's one that I was like, let me see.
Interesting one, right? The topic,
right? Yeah.
So
the other two, there was 6 episodes. I haven't.
Pirates, Big Thunder. Oh, Indy.
Oh yeah, right. Indy. What was the other one? There's one more.
Food.
I think I've watched 3 of the 6 so far.
And was it nighttime shows or something like that?
Yes, it was like World of Color and stuff. Yeah, they featured. So I've watched half of them so far, but
oh wow, okay,
pretty good.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I've intended to do, but then I like when I get to where I can actually watch something, I forget about it. Forget that it exists.
Oh, right. That's true. There's just so much content these days. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
Something else that just recently reopened or about to reopen, I guess we got a tour of it. I don't know if it's officially open yet or not. It might be. Is the Adventureland Treehouse at Disneyland.
Yes. Inspired by Swiss Family Robinson.
Which, we got to see the video. Originally, that's what they said inspired by. And we were thinking it was going to have more interactive elements, which it does have some updated elements.
Yeah.
It's really kind of like a Swiss Family Robinson 2.0, right? That's what kind of said. So they just took the treehouse and put it back, and then they threw the, I don't know, I guess the remained of Tarzan's treehouse, they left it in there with the book, from what I could see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was basically just an upgrade or an update to the original, from what I could tell.
So because they didn't just like completely revert it to that, is why they are saying inspired by, even though it basically is
the original one,
a remake of it, right? Like, I don't know why they had to do that, but didn't we talk about like the thought that are they gonna like make a new live action the original was live action, but are they gonna make a remake of Swiss Family Robinson in like a different way?
See, that's what it makes me think they might do. They might be trying to reboot it. So, this time it's going to be, if it was originally live action, is this one going to be animated? Like they're going to start doing
right, they're going to do it the other way.
Start doing it the opposite.
Right.
It's like, hey, we've had such great success with making the animation live action. Why don't we make the live action animation?
Yeah. Right. Well, I guess they have to make this more exciting for a modern day audience. Although I'm thinking back through the video of the new version, is this going to hold people's attention? Like most people complain about or joke about the one in Florida of just being a long queue line to nowhere.
Right. What are we standing in line for?
Yeah. So, it kind of is a queue line. It's what it feels like. But I don't know. It's cool. I think it's still cool to look at, personally. But
oh, yeah. It's just not something you do every time.
Yeah. I don't do it that often. But if I'm waiting for my time at Skipper Canteen, I'll just walk over there.
If you're there a little early. Like, oh,
right, early.
This is here.
Yes.
Let's go join the queue for Skipper Canteen.
Once you walk through it, and it's like, oh, dinner's ready. Our table's ready. Anyway.
It'll probably get one of those things sort of like the Journey of Water does when it first...
Yes.
You know what I mean? Not quite the same, but it'll probably get that. It'll probably get a few more people in it to begin with.
Speaking of,
it'll normalize.
There's I don't think there's any demand for Journey of Water anymore by now. Yeah. I've not heard of any virtual queue or any needed thing like that.
No, which it's not expected to need one, I don't think, long term, right? I mean, it's designed to eat a few people.
Literally,
you know what I mean?
Like Tafiti eats people. Oh.
But you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's designed to draw away from some of the from some of the other things being like constantly busy.
Yeah.
So,
which is needed everywhere.
Yes. It is. For a while there, all they did was announce e-tickets. So
Right.
I'm kind of glad to see that they did something that's not necessarily an e-ticket.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, so let's head on over to the cruise line for a moment.
All right.
Disney Cruise Line has announced new details for Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point, their new retreat in the Bahamas. As soon as guests step foot on the summer of 2024, they're going to discover a celebration of Bahamian storytelling, artistry, and culture. Let's see, how do I pronounce it? Make sure I'm saying it right. Mabrika Cove, I believe, is what the welcoming point is. Apparently, it does mean welcome in Tano, the language of the Lucayans, who are considered the indigenous people of the Bahamas, even though the language is no longer used. A few words remain.
Okay.
That's going to be the colorful arrival point.
Typical Disney fashion. It's an interesting looking structure in the concept art.
Right.
Interesting. Very colorful.
Yep. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the banners, like the welcoming points of like Nassau, right? But kind of Disney-fied.
Yeah.
Right.
So, agreed.
The next space on the island, the Goombay Cultural Center, and will embody the essence of Junkanoo, which is the Bahamian festival, with joyous music and vibrant parades that will come to life in many ways across Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. Is that going to be the official name? Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point. I think everybody's just going to call it Lighthouse Point.
Yeah.
Goombay is one of the traditional music styles of the Bahamas, involving singing, dancing, and drumming. The brightly colored cultural pavilion and its Junkanoo-inspired art will invite guests to embrace the traditions of the Bahamas, along with the sights, sounds, and spirit of the country's signature festival. So, Triton's trumpet stage is inspired by one of the stunning natural wonders found among the Bahamian beaches, which is a large spiraled seashell commonly called Triton's trumpet.
I just think of the Ewoks anyway.
Treasures of Eleuthera, I think that's how you say it, will be the retail shop featuring locally made gifts and artisan crafts.
That's cool.
And of course, the shops will spotlight Bahamian artists through an array of unique items that families will be able to bring home with them as a special keepsake. So they're kind of, the stores are going to be a little different than, say, they are on Castaway Cay, where you go over to like the side and then there's like one person running a shop with Bahamian items in it.
Yeah.
Right. One thing Disney, of course, wants to try to keep away from, I think they're trying to meet middle ground here, but one thing you don't want to have is like when you're on the cruise porch and you're being accosted by locals trying to
people
like
following you around with stuff. A
little aggressive at times, but I mean, I get it. That's
trying to make a living.
They're making a living, but you'd probably be a little more successful if you weren't quite so pushy, just saying. Guests who have sailed with Disney Cruise Line before might recognize Serenity Bay, that's a relaxing, that's what they're naming the retreat for adults over there, because they call it the same thing on Castaway Cay.
Right.
So that's basically the adult beach. And of course, it'll have the private cabanas available for reservation and so on and so forth. So that's just the same thing, different spot. So different island.
Wonder how much the final version of this is still going to be what Joe Rohde worked on. Like, has it evolved since then, or are we going to like show up there and be like, oh, this is definitely a Joe Rohde thing?
I don't think they would have had the opportunity to change much. I don't know why they would.
Well, I feel like Joe Rohde his things would tend to go over budget because they're like so detailed and so like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like they're really elaborate stuff.
Was Animal Kingdom over budget?
Yeah, way over. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I wonder if we'll be able to spot, like, oh, you know how a lot of things you look at Animal Kingdom and you're like, oh, this is definitely a Joe Rohde. A lot that's still there is very much him.
Would we say Animal Kingdom paid off?
I mean, overall, yes. I think for what it is, yes. But I would say right now it's the park that needs the most attention, right? Wouldn't you
Yeah.
think? Needs the most upgrades.
Possibly.
I don't know how much of Dino Land was his idea, but I feel like that was the area that got just
Gutted the most.
Yeah, so it probably was scaled back the most.
Like everything else was so elaborate. Then when it came to Dino Land, I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to cut this budget.
Yeah, indeed. Because the rest of the park's gorgeous, but yeah.
All right. Some good news. Park hours, the latest updates brings more midnight closings to Magic Kingdom. Something we haven't seen in a little while.
Yeah.
Although apparently some people that don't understand how the Christmas party works are thinking that the park's closing earlier these times around.
Indeed.
So one thing that they've done, it seems like on party days, they've actually added an extra hour in the morning for people that are wanting to go. Right. So so November's 19th, 21st through the 22nd, it's now 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. instead of 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. On the 20th and the 23rd, it's also, it was previously 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now it is 8 a.m. to 12 a.m. A lot of park time at Magic Kingdom on those 2 days.
That sounds like pre-COVID hours. Like,
oh, yeah.
We're finally getting back to that.
I don't think I ever recall hearing that in November, though. That's just...
Yeah, it's even then, yeah.
Yeah.
That's some long hours.
Yeah. I don't know what they expect, but hey, you know, if they're expecting some, based on bookings, if they're expecting heavy crowds then maybe that's the reason why.
Possibly.
The 24th, park hours are now 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., originally 9 to 9.
That's Black Friday.
November the 25th, which would be the following Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Is now 9 a.m. to 10 p.m., so it extended an hour from 9 to 9. Hollywood Studios, the 19th, the 21st to the 25th, the park hours were previously 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. They added another 30 minutes in the morning, so it's 8:30 to 9. And on the 20th, it was previously 9 to 8, and then again another 8:30, but to 8. So basically added a half hour there in the morning time.
What's this?
Animal Kingdom got another hour in the morning on the 19th, 20th through the 20th, and 23rd through the 25th, and 21st to 22nd also got an extra hour on both ends at Animal Kingdom. And and
Epcot
gets no changes. So
it's always like 9 to 9 anyway, right?
Pretty much. They might extend it to 8 sometimes.
Yeah.
In the morning.
Right.
Extra magic hours and whatnot.
Okay.
I think Epcot's pretty good with that consistent time. It has been over the years.
Yeah.
Why mess with it? And especially during this time of year, it gets dark earlier, so you get to experience the all the lights and everything at any park plenty of time.
Yeah.
They've been testing the Luminous, the Symphony of Us fireworks as well.
Yeah, if you're staying at Boardwalk or Beach Club or Yacht Club, you're seeing...
You're well aware.
Yeah. At like 3 in the morning. Yeah, probably.
A quick little tidbit here on merchandise. Navi Nutcracker in Pandora. Apparently they have a nutcracker that looks like a Navi.
Oh, really?
Over there.
Huh. Interesting.
Kind of cool.
If you collect nutcrackers, that's definitely a unique one.
I guess so. Another interesting one that came across this week, I think you kind of brought it up. They named a new CFO of Disney. Mr. Hugh F. Johnston has been named the Senior Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of the Walt Disney Company. It'll be effective December the 4th. That was announced by Bob Iger. What was this? A few days ago.
Yeah. So it's a month out or a little less than a month.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been widely praised in the industry as a great CFO. Has a 34 career at Pepsi, which is interesting to me.
Yes, he currently holds position there, actually.
Yes. He's CFO of Pepsi right now, moving over to Disney, which I brought up the question during our chat about this. Does that mean they're going to try and switch over to Pepsi? Is he going to try to make Disney
You know,
Pepsi official beverage of
I kind of
Disney?
doubt that. I kind of doubt they can make it the official beverage. They might try to incorporate
More
Pepsi into the brand and not be exclusively Coke, but I don't think Coke would go for that. Their Coke they've had such a good deal with Coke for so long. I kind of don't see that happening, but never say never.
I feel like Coke practically gives Disney from what I understood, Disney has a sweet end of that deal.
Right.
So,
well,
yeah.
Coca-Cola has been dominating the soft drink industry for a long time. Don't get me wrong, Pepsi does well enough, but, everywhere you go, Coke really is the product most places.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, it depends on where, I guess. Like the Northeast maybe less. So, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Well, I mean, they're both essentially soft drinks and are really when the bottom line is they're poison. So,
right. Well, of course, they've also
just kidding, kind of.
Well, kind of, not kind of kidding,
kind of, not kind of.
But they also are both diversifying because of that. Like they all have their sparkling water brands and their energy drink brands and all these other.
Which are also not good for you, but
right, that too. But the sparkling water might be
water will be about the only thing that's okay.
That's the only. But they're all trying to like come up with new things because they know the trend is people are probably drinking less and less soda these days. But
right,
I was looking at a thing. It looks like Pepsi. Oh, this was 2000 though. It says in 2022. It says Coca-Cola had a 46.3% market share, Pepsi 24.7%. And that was 2022 stats. So Coke is pretty much dominating that market if their market share is that high. But
yeah,
46% to 25%.
Well, you think about it, most of the chains that you see have Coke as their product line.
Yeah.
Few exceptions. You always find Pepsi at, say, a Taco Bell or something like that. But
yeah, that's probably where most of the market share comes from, is the fast food places.
Yeah, I mean, like McDonald's is Coke, Burger King's Coke. All the major chains. Are Coke. So
other than Taco Bell, like you said, or there's probably a handful
Pizza
of
Hut?
Others. Yeah, Pizza Hut might be.
I think Pizza Hut is.
Yeah, there's a few others. But yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, he's obviously been at Pepsi a long time, so he's probably a little biased. So, wonder if, you never know if that'll creep in.
We've made that comment how, the opening spiel of the original Country Bear Jamboree, when he was saying like the howdy folks, welcome to the one and original Country Bear Jamboree. And originally there was a line in there that said presented by Pepsi Cola.
Right. Yeah, it was.
Has not been in there for a long time.
Maybe he's going to bring that back. The new Country Bear show.
They're going to work a sponsorship for just the Bears.
Yeah, the new Country Bear. What are they calling it again? The new show, Country Bear. It's not Country Bear Jamboree. It's Country Bear Musical Jamboree. What's it called?
I don't really remember what they call it.
The new version. Anyway, that's opening next year apparently.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Pepsi. Perfect time to bring it back. Anyway, so we'll see. He's also 62 years old, so he's not a spring chicken.
Oh, he's just in his prime.
I mean, compared to Iger,
he's hitting his prime. No.
Right. How old is Iger again? 72? He's 72, so he is young compared to Iger, I guess.
So, okay, yeah, a decade, yeah. All right, so moving along.
Yeah.
Blizzard Beach is now open.
Yeah.
For the holiday season, which means Typhoon Lagoon is now closed. Because, during the winter months, you can't have them both open. One has to be open and the other one closed.
Yeah.
To get its annual furbish knocked off.
Anything new? I didn't really look into this one that much. Is there anything different?
No. I mean, it was just a seasonal thing. You're not really going to find too much new when it comes to that.
That's what I thought.
So,
did they do anything while they were closed?
Not that I've seen. I don't see anything. Nothing that stands out. Nothing that was just like major news or anything.
Okay.
So,
got it.
So construction has begun. Might even be done by now on the Gingerbread Castle at Disney's Contemporary Resort. which is featuring
Grand
the Disney
Floridian
100.
or temporary? There's
No,
one, oh, the one
contemporary.
at Contemporary. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, you don't remember seeing the
Oh,
one
that's right.
contemporary before?
That's right. They always have it like right at the end of the.
Yeah,
like
this
where
is,
the
I
monorail.
said the castle, not the gingerbread house. That's the castle.
Sorry.
You weren't listening.
Well, kind of.
Yeah, you're only half listening.
I heard gingerbread and I heard resort. And I was like, you always think Grand Floridian, but I was like, we talked about that last week. So
Yeah,
yes.
that's the original, right? The one but that's the traditional. But there have been some others that's been added since then.
Yeah.
What's the one they make at the Poly? They make something at the Poly, or do they just change that one up? I know they make something at the Poly out of gingerbread. It's just not as big.
I don't know.
I think. Yeah, I'll have to look and see if we see some of that. I could have swore they make something there,
Good
unless they
question.
stopped. I mean, they may only done it a couple of years, and I just don't recall since then. But speaking of gingerbread, the holiday treat locations during the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party
have
Right.
been revealed, because what's the first party's like as you're listening to this has already happened, but
Yeah, it's already taken place. So, of course, we have some usual spots. Columbia Harbor House, Cosmic Rays, Lunching Pad, and Pinocchio Village House.
Mhm.
And Tortuga Tavern, of course. And that's going to be the usual spots. Now, I mean, the times that I've been there, it was basically a cookie and like
yeah, I think
eggnog or something.
Yeah,
You
either
get-
eggnog, hot chocolate, or cider.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think eggnog was. It's one of those three.
Non-alcoholic eggnog, of course.
Of course, yeah. Which, I don't know. I mean, if it's hot, if it's a very warm evening, I don't really want. And of course, when you get hot chocolate, it's not really that hot. It's kind of mild, so I'm like, you don't really want lukewarm cocoa, but whatever. It's not
Right.
hot, not cold usually. So it's fine.
Yeah.
This is where the Halloween party is better, because you get candy. You can get a lot of different kinds of candy versus getting cookies, which, I don't really eat cookies that much anymore.
Yeah.
You can get different varieties depending on which place you're at, but yeah, it's not the best. That's where the Halloween party has something on the Christmas party. But I think, in my opinion, it's the only thing that I like better about the
That it
Halloween
has?
party, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute now. At the
Better.
Halloween party, they don't give you a drink, right?
What do you mean a drink? Well, no,
Hot-
they don't give
hot
you
chocolate.
drinks, but I mean, it's like I said, lukewarm hot chocolate or cider or eggnog, which I'm not really,
That's what I mean.
I
Okay,
don't
whatever.
really want that anyway. So,
You could bring in your bottle of water
okay, and mix it.
and sure.
What's that brown water you're pouring into this? Yeah, I brought my own cider.
And just
Yeah.
mix it with the cider.
Exactly.
Anyway,
Sure. Bring your own microwave so you can reheat it too.
as
Anyway,
as you are listening to this, the Jollywood Nights has
played-
already kicked off.
mm,
So you will know that the attractions that will be going on during the event, apparently it's not absolutely everything, but it's most of the rides.
Yeah.
Rise of Resistance will be virtual queue only. Smuggler's Run. Toy Story Land will have Saucers, Slinky, and Mania, which is basically
Yep.
everything that's a ride, right?
Yep.
Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, Runaway Railway, Muppet Vision, and Star Tours, which basically means the shows are not going to be going
Yeah.
on, right? So basically it means the Beauty and the Beast, the stunt show, and what else
Right.
is it that's not going to be active?
so if
I
you
mean, 'cause basically everything's open that's a ride.
right,
It's
Well,
an actual ride.
if you want to be the only person in Muppet Vision 3D, if you want to see what that's like, you can.
That is a slight underestimation that you're
Really?
giving. Slight
I
exaggeration.
bet if you go in there towards the end of the night, you'll be the only one in there.
Well, you could probably say that about a couple of things. You could probably say that about Star Tours. I don't know.
Yeah, you could probably do like you would definitely be the spy because you're like the only one on there. Or they'll just show an empty chair. This spy.
Is there possibility for a low crowd number at Rock and Roller Coaster? Probably. Right?
Yeah,
Possibility.
you might.
Because I remember back whenever Galaxy's Edge opened, and I was just trying to do like a practice run that morning, basically. by the time I got to Rock and Roller Coaster, there were like 6 people on it. I mean, it was like, because it was still early and everybody was at Galaxy's Edge, right?
Yep.
So,
yeah, you could probably do, those would be low crowds. The things that won't be low are Slinky Dog, Smuggler's Run, Runaway Railway, probably.
Yeah.
Tower of Terror, maybe.
So the Orlando tourism shows modest gains, is what they're saying, after a summer slump, according to them.
Oh, it's for the fall.
Yeah. After 5 months in a row of year-over-year decreases in collected tourism tax, the tourism tax is a sort of canary in the coal mine for the health of the Orlando tourism environment. Orange County's tourist development tax, sometimes called the bed tax, is revenue generated by a 6% tax on hotels and other short-term rentals that are less than 6 months in duration. So according to today's press release, they were up 0.8% in September, year over year. So the modest increase represents the first positive year-over-year collection since April. Basically, that was the first. Well, it wasn't the first of the year, so I guess February must have been better. But, even though it was a small increase, the previous months went as follows. April was negative 3.5%. May was negative 6.7%. June was negative 7.3%. July was negative 5.2%. And August was negative 5.6%. So, yeah.
No wonder June was so less crowded this year.
Yeah.
When we were there in June. So it's year over year, meaning comparing month to month. So June 2022, this year was 7% lower than 2022. That makes sense.
That's what it's kind of saying.
So September is slightly higher than last year, which is still kind of low, right? September is usually the lower, but it was a little higher than last year.
Yeah, it's usually the lower period, which is really kind of an imperfect stat, I guess. There's one also here that focuses on recorded posted wait times at Walt Disney World from Thrill Data over that same time frame. I don't know exactly what this means. April says it's a -9, May a negative 18.5, June a negative 16. I mean, they're all negative numbers, but I don't understand because wait times do not seem like they're low. It's saying that they're below 2022 levels, though.
Yeah, so they're like 10 to 15% lower than last year.
I don't even. Here's what I don't understand. I never see a significant difference in the wait times. I mean, to me, they're still way too long. They're still all way too long.
Yeah, when I was there in the summer, though, the standbys were lower than what I remember in 2022.
By how much?
I mean, not significantly, but lower enough to be
my point exactly
noticeable. Yeah, but I mean, 12% is not that noticeable. 10 to 12% or whatever these numbers are. It's not like, that's the difference of like, 60 minutes to 75, for Space Mountain or something. It's not a huge noticeable difference.
Yeah.
That makes sense though, because 2022 was just like crazy because of the 50th and all that. It was just way too crowded during a lot of the year. And then when the 50th kind of ended, yeah, it was a huge drop for a while. So it tracks. That tracks. And we will be right back.
Teaching her how to drive. But Dad, why not use Greenlight to help her save for her own car? Mowing lawns and getting paid. She'll go from washing your car to flexing with her own. How? With Greenlight, the money app for families. Together, you can navigate the world of earning, saving, and investing. Because when you teach her to be smart about money, she'll go far. Invest in your best investment. Sign up today at greenlight.com.
And now, back to the show.
So, a not so pleasant, I guess we could say, topic to end this, the news segment part on.
Okay.
Guests still pooping in queues for Flight of Passage, Rise of the Resistance, and Indiana Jones Adventure, apparently. So Walt Disney World Resort and Disney Resort are both experiencing the unfortunate trend, as they put it, of guests having bowel movements on their most popular ride queues.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah. We've heard about the Flight of Passage thing before.
Yeah,
which is why the bathroom was added.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
they were added.
There was apparently a poop hallway that people talked about, or cast members knew about. It was
Yes.
nicknamed
Dubbed the poop hallway by
The
cast
poop
members
hallway.
that had, and Disney had open mind bathroom queues.
right.
Open mid-queue bathrooms, excuse me. I don't know where I
Right.
got open mind.
So, yeah, when are they going to add one to Rise of the Resistance? Curious.
This is a Reddit thread where this is coming from that
Yeah.
I'm about to say next. Bodily fluids no longer bother me after working at Disney, a cast member wrote.
Yeah.
Titled, The Most Disturbing Thing You've Seen at the Hotels or
Yeah.
Parks. I think you were talking about this earlier. This
Yes,
is
I
one-
stumbled on this before, and it's a rabbit hole. You can go down this trail and, well, pardon the parts. Anyway,
Yeah,
you
this
can go
trail.
down, this rabbit trail. put
You
it
don't
that
want
way.
to go down this trail. Huh?
Yeah, this is not a pleasant one. There's quite a few.
Well, here's a couple here.
Things.
He said, let's just say that the attraction I work at has what Cass ended up dubbing the poop hole, which is the one
Right.
we're just referring to.
Flight of Passage, yeah.
Because of the number of times guests have gone in there and pooped. They continued, we even put up a camera and it didn't stop it.
Yeah.
They confirmed in the replies that they worked at Flight of Passage.
Right.
So,
And I don't understand, if you have to go that badly, are you gonna crouch in a dark hallway and just be like nothing ever happened? Like you're just gonna I don't know. I've never been tempted to even think about doing that.
no, but people are disgusting. That's what it
That's
is.
true. People are disgusting in general.
Following up, though, one of the comments in this one, it says another cast member added, good Lord, the poop hallway from a former flight CM. This absolutely gives me war flashbacks. Has like PTSD from this.
Yeah, can you imagine that though? Like having
He's-
to clean that up? That's awful.
Yeah. He says, I dealt with way too many bodily fluids at that dang attraction.
Oof.
This is the kicker, though. He says, my favorite being when someone would puke on level 2 or 3 and it would drip down.
Oh man. Oh, so on the actual ride, if they
Apparently so.
puked?
Yes.
Oh man, being on the top level. Can you imagine just riding that ride? Like, wait, I don't remember the ocean spraying me from the top.
No, I'm not. See, the thing is, I'm not going to be able to ride that ride now without thinking about that possibility now.
Well, now I'm going to be like, I need to be on the top level, so there's nobody above me.
Right. Well, look, you think about it, it could technically happen at Soarin'. You just wouldn't think that would happen that often, right? So,
Yeah, it could, I guess. Yeah. Interesting.
anyway.
Oh man.
So a lot of the ones with the rise, though, like it talks about someone let their kid, just take a dump on the floor, but
I'm trying to think. Okay, Rise.
and they
there's
just
not-
walked out and left it.
I don't what?
You got to be kidding me. What they're going to do is they're going to have to be, they're going to have to start treating it like pets, and they're going to have to bring a kid pooper scooper or whatever in there, and that with a doggy bag. It had to be called a kid bag, I guess.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to build a bathroom in the queue like they did.
Well, that's
Flight of
ridiculous,
Passage.
though. You have to build a bathroom because people can't be civilized.
Right. Well,
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I can understand if you have a kid and they can't
You
hold
get
it.
out of line.
Well, okay, yes, but there are parts of these queues where it's like really difficult to get out of a line. If you're deep into the line, you got to walk all the way back through all these people. It's not easy to do. I'm just saying,
I'm
no
just saying,
excuse, but
these people, what happened here, I guarantee you, they were not willing to get back out of the line.
yeah, exactly. That's mostly what it is. Is like, I don't want to leave the line, so you're just
Yeah.
gonna stand in this corner and pee or poop or whatever. I'm sure it's both. We're talking about poop, but because that's the worst of the worst. But I'm sure it happens way more often where kids, in particular, and these parents are just like turn around and go in the corner and just pee
Right.
It's awful.
Anyway, but yeah, bringing that. I mean, I know. Sorry, folks. Some of you, that's going to be a pretty disgusting.
Disclaimer.
Subject, but yeah, we should put that out there. But yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day, whenever they still had the, quite frequently had the horses out pulling the
Oh yeah.
the Main Street car.
I remember the time I was a kid and I begged my dad to film the horse peeing, and he filmed like a split second of it.
Yeah, of course. Well, like his usual filming.
Yes, of course.
Split second of everything.
Right. But there's literally like a 2-second shot of the horse peeing in front of the castle.
Yeah.
I don't know if I still have. Do we even still have that tape? I don't even know if it still exists.
So I'm sure it does. I think I probably have that saved on digital now, the whole video.
I just vividly remember we rode the trolley up to the castle and we got off, and then the horse just started peeing like he had been
really
frozen for 30 years. And I just remember like, you have to record this. Like, I just thought it was hilarious, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So apparently, the reason why I bring this up, though, apparently back in the day, there was a code H is what they called it, which stood for horse. But now there's a second version of the human code H became necessary, which is sad, really. But yeah.
Right. Yikes.
Speaking of the horse pulling a trolley, I was watching again some classic footage that I found on Retro WDW the other day, and like it was really early on, right? So it was like the 70s. When you look down Main Street, I was like, God, not only was there Main Street vehicles out, you could see like 3 in the same shot. Like there was that many going all at the same time. It was a different time period.
Oh yeah.
And now it's like you have to get there at the right hour just to get one period. So,
right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of time left here. Maybe we can talk about how, since it's the winter coming up, right, that we're basically in, traveling to Disney World during the winter, you got to think about a couple of things a little differently in the wintertime when you're traveling there, right? You have to pack slightly differently than you would in the summer. Maybe we could go over real quick a couple of items that you might do differently in the wintertime versus any other time you pack, or other items that you might bring typically during the winter. I know you've been during Christmas or between Christmas and New Year's the last couple of years, or around that same time frame.
Yeah. I actually have been there when it's the coldest I've ever been to Disney.
Oh, I've been there when it was really cold. One thing about Disney, I don't know, it's even if it's below its normal temperatures, right? I think it feels much colder. Even like I remember feeling even when it was in the 50s there, it felt like it was much colder.
Yeah. It was 38 degrees on Christmas Day last year, which is probably the coldest I've ever been in the middle of the day at Disney. It was like 30 degrees during the parade. So definitely check the weather before you go. That's the thing, because you never know when a cold front's going to come through and it's going to be really cold, or it could be 85. You just never know.
Well, the thing with Central Florida is you're basically, if you're going in the wintertime, you're going to have to pack for multiple seasons, pretty much. I remember the very first time that I went in early December or close to mid-December, I think, early to mid-December. I flew, so my clothes were mostly still summer-esque clothes, so I had short-sleeve shirts and shorts. But what I carried with me, and it probably almost seemed like I was wearing the same outfit every day, is I had these I had a pullover and these tearaway pants, basically. Right? Like the kind you would have for basketball or what have you.
Oh, I was about to say like a stripper? Like, what are we talking about?
No, like sports. No, like I had these button-up ones, like kind of you can. But I did.
For your night job.
So, right.
Yeah.
So basically, this is how I planned it, basically, right?
Yeah,
so I would have
so
whatever underneath.
No. I know what you mean.
So no, like when I be going out, right? If it's
in case
early
you
in the
have
morning,
to poop in line at flight of passage or whatever.
Sure.
You can just anyway. Sorry.
Well, there was no flight of passage way back
I
then.
know.
Oh, wait. But
Sorry.
so I mean, basically, I just had it for like if it was early in the morning, obviously it was going to be cooler, so you would start dressing cooler as the day went on. It could get warmer, so you
can just pop them off.
right. Exactly. You just get them off real easy.
And you have shorts
and
underneath.
I have shorts on, and then I could just take the pullover off and tie it around my waist, and voila, right? So,
do people still
things
wear
like that.
those?
Pullovers?
Those were a big, like the ones that can just pop off or snap off.
Are you talking about the pants?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, they were like what we used in, say, playing basketball.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you just rip them off, and then you're
Right.
in your gear.
Is that still a thing? I don't know.
Like it would be your warm ups, right? You would be wearing the warm ups, and then you would take them off before the game, so you just pull or just tear away.
Yeah, I just wonder if people still is that still a thing?
It's an athlete thing. That's what I was wearing them at the time. So
got it.
And see, the thing with those type pants too is that they have these little almost like holes in between because of where the buttons go. So you just reached in your short pockets where you put your wallet and stuff, right? You just reach between it. So I did stuff like that. The first time I went down there, as cold as what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that's kind of convenient, I guess, if you're going to have to, is you have all these extra pockets, right? You made that comment of where to put stuff.
Oh man,
because you have a jacket.
Yeah, especially if you have kids. When we were there, when it was cold, it was a day I didn't bring a backpack. I just had my jacket, and I just put stuff that I needed for the kids or whatever in my jacket.
Your jacket,
that was it.
Yeah.
Didn't even need a backpack.
You're like, hey, I'm going to wear a jacket here all the time. Yeah, right.
Right, yeah. Yeah. That's literally the only time. It's got to be really cold.
It's only things like that that's a little different. You might want to consider maybe bringing like a throw or something like that with you for the outdoor attractions, perhaps, in some cases. Some of them.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're going to watch a parade or fireworks and it's night.
Yeah. You might want to consider bringing a throw with you.
Couldn't hurt.
A blanket.
It does get cold for the kiddos in particular.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you have younger kids, you're definitely gonna need one for the stroller.
Yeah,
that you'll need to cover it with, or have the whole thing covered in some cases. Some of the stuff is gonna be the same, but some of it's, like I said, you just got to be prepared for all seasons, pretty much. So when you pack, you're gonna need a little bit of everything.
Right.
And you just never know.
Thing sometimes, as you said, it's colder in the morning or at night, but in the middle of the day, it's like still pretty warm, pretty hot. So you gotta find. It's nice to have a stroller during those times, so you can like store stuff, like your jacket or a blanket or stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's nice to have that place to put it.
And I'll give you. Here's a good example. In 2017, we did basically a land and sea trip, right? So we went for one night prior to the sailing, and we stayed, and then 2 nights post sailing. So we did this. This was a 4-night Bahamian on the Dream, and we stayed one night in Walt Disney World prior to the sailing, and we stayed 2 nights after the sailing.
Well,
the first night it was pretty mild as far as temperature goes for the most part. Didn't really need anything out of the ordinary. Just pleasant for the most part. Of course, when you're on the cruise, you go to the Bahamas. Temperature is a little more, what you would expect, warmer. Go in there, and even Castaway Cay was still warm. You could get in the water, of course. But when we came back, this is the interesting thing. We came back, we had our first day there back at Epcot. It was still like normal, right? You could wear shorts, what have you. But it was just like the next day, it was turned so cold the very next day. Like even Stormalong Bay was like closed, I think.
Right.
This the next day.
That's another thing too, that not park hours, but like water parks in particular and pools can close because of the cold if it happens.
On the drop of a hat. So keep that in mind. Like at any moment. But that's the thing. Like a cold front could come through, and you could go from being near 80 to the high being 50 in one day. 30-degree change.
Well, literally. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was there a few years ago in March, and I was there for, I think we were there for like 9 days or something. It was a long, or a lot of, it was a long trip. But it was mostly warm, but then a cold front came through at the very end of the trip. And that last day, it was like windy and a high of like 55. And it was like, the whole time, it was like in the 80s. It was nice. But then the last day, like this cold front blew in, and it's like we were, didn't
Right.
have, we did bring some because we thought, it could happen. But it's like you got to break out the sweaters and jackets.
And for
You
whatever
never know.
reason, in the winter months, I don't know what it is exactly. I mean, Holly River Rapids will have a really low weight. I mean, I can't figure that one out.
Yeah. Actually, when we were there a few weeks ago, it was cooler that one day, and we rode Kali. It was like 70 maybe as the high, maybe. I forgot why. But it was a chillier day. And yeah, it was cold. We were wet. It was pretty chilly, but it was fine. Definitely a short wait. Didn't need the lightning lane for
Right.
that day.
Those are usually more popular when it's warmer. Go figure.
That would be another tip, though, is on if you're not just like during the holidays, but after the holidays, like January, February, March, a lot of the water rides do go for refurb.
Yeah.
Of course, Splash Mountain used to always go under, but of course now it's currently not, until
Not in
Tiana's
operation
opens.
anyway.
But I imagine it'll still do that every, late January to February, somewhere in there.
Probably.
Have a refurb. So
Yep.
they're closed for a few weeks. So pay attention to that. You can look
Right.
those up.
Those things, yep. Oh, and traditionally, I mean, even though it's, you think cooler weather during the winter, usually the water parks, there's always one that is operating, right?
Yeah.
And they do have heated water. The only time that they ever close them is the extreme change in the temperature,
Right.
and for good reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it gets to an extreme change, just note that those things can be closed.
And check park hours.
Yeah,
Be another tip.
I would say
because-
that, but I mean, I think park hours still stay relatively consistent. I don't think they change too
Yeah.
often quickly.
I was kind of alluding to a joke,
Oh,
like joking, because
oh yeah, that's
if
right.
people don't know that there's Christmas parties or Jollywood nights or things like that, the park, you'll be like, why is Magic Kingdom closing at 6?
Even though they have signs everywhere.
Yeah.
That says,
Or,
like,
you know-
it's like right there when you walk in, is it not? It's like
Yeah.
tonight Magic Kingdom will be
Oh, yeah.
closing early because of a party.
Right. They'll have a big sign.
It
out
says
front
the
when
reason
you walk
why.
in, yeah.
It actually says the reason why.
But if
So-
you're booking ahead and you're like, why is it closing at 6? Like, it should tell you on the app, like part, event night or whatever.
Does it not?
I think it does.
Oh, okay.
So- You can't. I don't know how you miss it, but a lot of people still do.
Yeah. Well,
But,
some
you know.
people just like to complain too.
Look ahead, plan ahead. You have to
Pay
do that.
attention.
You have to.
What's going on?
Got to do it.
All right. So I think that's enough information for one episode, just
Mhm.
kind of to wrap things up here.
Oh, show.
So you can find us, of course, as always, on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. I almost did it. You can find that at TWTM Podcast. We have a Spreadshirt store, which I just recently got myself a couple of new shirts. That is shop.spreadshirt.com/TWTM Podcast. We also have a YouTube channel, which there might be some more videos here soon, hopefully.
Horse peeing video? I'm just kidding. Not that.
I'm not going to go there.
That would get flagged immediately, probably.
You can find the links to that and more. Where, Adam?
Our website, which is travelingwiththemouse.com. You can email us podcast@travelingwiththemouse.com as well. And we do have a travel agent friend as well on our website. You can look up our information there. That was a weird.
For Adam and John, this has been Traveling with the Mouse, and we hope you will join us on our next trip.
Around the sun on our spaceship Earth,
Something like that.
kind of.